All right. So I think we are live. I am not. Okay, there we go. All right. So I think we're live. I'm gonna give maybe 1 or so minutes to let everybody join in that wants to join in. But we're gonna get started, and I have a list of questions that I got asked in like Twitter and things like that. So we'll be taking questions from there, and we'll also be taking questions from chat. So if you guys have any questions you want to drop into chat, you can feel free to drop them anytime in the stream. I'll be just going over them in order, and then I'll also go over questions asked in the Shopify Nerds group and in all other groups. So I think we have like 2 people in now, but yeah, we'll still get started right away since I'm not planning to make this like super long. And for everybody that's just joining in and watching like the replay, you can stay tuned, and I'll probably go over a question that you might have asked. So yeah, one question that I did get a lot is what knowledge do I need to start my own e-commerce business? And this is like, it's a no-brainer since everything's available online, and you really do not need you don't need to be super knowledgeable. You don't need years of experience in school, and you don't need, years experience in college to be able to start your own e-commerce business. It's just a matter of you going to a computer, being able to Google. If you can Google, you're all set. And just doing your own research. Since when I started, I didn't have any, I didn't have any real foundation. I started just looking up things, trying to figure out what was working and doing a bunch of testing. And that's something that a lot of people miss is they start and pay them, thousands of dollars in courses. And all that's gonna happen is they're gonna get some kind of content from those gurus. It might be shit, it might be not. But they're just going to expect that the methods that these gurus teach are the methods that work, and they're going to test them. And then when they don't work, or if something fails, they're going to give up and say, "Oh, I'm not knowledgeable enough. Oh, this is not working for me." The thing is, though, that you honestly have to just test by yourself, and without testing anything by yourself, you're not going to get anywhere, because things work differently for different people. So just because one guru says test this Facebook ads method, that does not mean that it's going to work. That just means that it might have worked for them, but for it to work for you, you're going to have to test it yourself, and test your own version of it. So then going back to the question, what knowledge do you need? You don't really need anything at the start. You just have to gain that knowledge. You have to do the research yourself. You need to test yourself, and essentially you need to keep testing until you get things right. And that's the main gist of that, is to just do the research and learn yourself, because no one's gonna think about it. No guru out there, unless we're talking about Gabriel, or even Chris from what's it called, Ecom King or something like that. But unless you're looking at those very few YouTubers and people like me that actually give you information out there, 99% of every business owner or every guru or Shopify person out there, they're going to try to sell you something because it's in their benefit. Why would they go out and teach you how to make money when they can just be taking that for themselves? So the fact that they're giving it and making it too good to be true, if something seems too good to be true, it most likely is too good to be true. So back on that, just do your own research, learn by yourself, and don't expect to be spoon-fed, because the moment you expect to be spoon-fed and expect people to be giving you information just for free without anything in return, that's when they're going to try to sell you a course. That's when they're going to try to sell you something that essentially is going to benefit them more than it's going to benefit you. Another question. This is by Garrett on Twitter. This is, a lot of people ask this again, and I've went over this, but will dropshipping die in the next few years? I think we all know the answer to this, but no, it won't die, just because it's a business platform. And, business platforms are like this. I went over this in my Q&A. I don't know if you guys watched that, but dropshipping a year ago, there was maybe 1,000 people joining it, and 1,000 people joining it a day, and 500 people, or no, let's just say 1,100 dropping out because they're failing at their stores. Today, there's maybe 10,000 people joining and 10,100 dropping out every single day. So the margins are still the same, and the same amount of people are still going in and going out. It's just that there's more competition and there's more people doing it. So you can't really say, I can't really say it's going to die just because it's getting harder. Sure, it's getting harder, but that just brings, that brings more competition, but then also that brings you more potential sales, since Facebook's going to be updating their algorithms to handle more advertisers. And as you know, there's already, thousands of people trying to advertise on Facebook. And for you to be one of them to actually stand out, they're going to be constantly updating the algorithms to be better and better. So in short, do I think it's going to die? No. Is it possibly going to in the future? Maybe. But that's that. All right, let's get some questions that are in chat. I ran an ad unsuccessfully. How do I know if it was the ad or the product? Okay, so there's a couple ways you can tell. First, look at your ad statistics. If your ad is getting a good impression rate, so if a lot of people are seeing your ad, and versus if you take a look at that, the amount of people that are looking at your ad, and then you take a look at the amount of people that are interacting with your ad, and then the amount of people that are clicking with your ad, if those numbers correlate and you have a good click-through rate, then it's definitely not your ad. And that also, goes back to the point that you can really sell anything as long as you market it right. Like, I know people that sell items that are extremely saturated, like teeth whitening products have been saturated for, over a year now. And there's still companies, you could still open a teeth whitening store and make money off it just because you do advertising correctly. And it's just, yeah. So to answer your question in short, look at your ad statistics. If your ad conversion, or if your click-through rate and people are actually driving to your site, but they're not purchasing that product, then it could be that product. And then you also need to look at how much competition there is, since there could be, 30, 40, 50 different people selling that specific product. And if their ad creatives are better than yours, if their campaigns are larger, there's a lot of small things that go into consideration. But yeah, that's to answer your product, to answer your question, not to answer your product. If what are your thoughts on the quality of AliExpress jewelry? Well, it's China, so it's going to be really shitty. You can sell it. Just be prepared to have a lot of people kind of upset about it. Since, think about it, if you were to order a piece of jewelry from AliExpress, do it. Order a piece of jewelry from AliExpress. See if you like the quality. If you like the quality, there's a good chance that other people will like it too. Now, if you think the quality is absolute garbage, other people are going to think it's garbage. And there's suppliers on AliExpress that sell really high quality jewelry. And then there's also suppliers on AliExpress that, they're selling just plastic stuff. And that stuff is not really going to get you many sales, or it might get you sales, but it's not going to get you returning customers. And essentially, in what I talked in my very latest video, is a loyal customer, which is what you're trying to achieve, since loyal customers really bring you the bulk of your profits. And then you ask Jake asks, is it night where you are? Yeah, I'm currently in Serbia on a vacation trip. I'm visiting some family for spring break. So I'm here right now. So yeah, it's night outside, and I'm gonna get a drink real quick. All right, so Farah's, Alex, can I schedule a one-on-one call with you tomorrow? So like I just said, I'm in Serbia, and I'll be here for the rest of this week, and I'm coming back to the States on Sunday. So I definitely recommend scheduling a call next week. Like, I could do it tomorrow, but I'm just going to be so busy here, hanging out with grandparents, and I have my schedules booked. So I would say schedule it for next week, or schedule it for the week after that. And we can definitely jump on a call, talk about whatever you want there. I can look at your ads, How many ads do you put into a CBO? Also, do you put more than one ad into each ad set in a CBO? All right, good question. So when I create a CBO, I like to keep it at 5 ad sets per CBO. And this is mainly because I start all my CBOs off at a $200 budget, and I like to always give at least $50 per ad set to let them spend that for a day so I can judge them on their performance and optimization. So I would say to play with it. And this goes all the way back to the question that I was talking about on what question was that? That was what knowledge do you need to start off? You got to test. And I can't emphasize enough how much you need to test because, you know, five ad sets per CBO might work for me, but you might be testing it and on your ad account, it just might not be working. And if it's not working for you, then just test 10, test 2, test 3. It's just testing every single possible thing. And I guarantee you, like, no matter what your product is, no matter how shitty your store looks like, I guarantee you the shitty store, that will matter. But it doesn't matter what product you're selling. If you test every single thing, and if you're saying, oh no, you know, my ads aren't working, blah, blah, if you test every single thing there is to test, one thing is going to work, two things are going to work, five things are going to work, and you'll be able to scale those things to, you know, 6 figures a month plus. Do you put more than one ad? Okay, so I do. I have been testing lately Gabriel's, I don't know if you guys saw his latest video or 2 videos ago, but he talks about super CBO ad sets. And this is an ad set that just has a bunch of large lookalike audiences in that ad set. And that is going to just give you a huge audience to mess with. And that is also, yeah, I definitely have been testing with that. To start with one and see how that one goes. If that one doesn't go very good, or if that creative is not working very well for me, then I just jump right into it and play with like 3, 4, 5 different ad creatives. And this is going to allow you to quicker find out what ad creatives are working, which ones are getting better engagement. You know, play with thumbnails, play with what's it called? Stoppers. Okay, I'm not gonna get this right, but 3 seconds. The very first 3 seconds of your video are the most important. So play with that. Change the very first image or the very first you know, whoosh of an iPhone or a whoosh of your product. Just play with that in the very first 3 seconds and see how that's working. Since if it's giving you better results when you get an ad set, or a creative with a flashing screen versus less results with, you know, something that has text popping up, go with the flashing screen, because that, at the end of the day, that ad creative is going to do better and it's going to get you more sales. Can you tell your full journey Facebook ad strategy for a winning product? I need a drink for this one, since I feel like this might be testing, scaling. So what I like to do is when I have a winning product, so when I've tested, you know, a bunch of products, when I found a winner, first thing I will always do is create a video ad for it. So I'll pay somebody to create a video ad. I might compile my own video ad, and I'm going to, with that video ad, run a pay per engagement campaign until that video gets 100,000 plus views on it. So after I get 100,000 plus views on it, I'm just gonna go absolutely mad with video view lookalike audiences. And when I say absolutely mad, I'm not like that. That's not an understatement. I go absolutely mad with them, and I test scroll stoppers for you. I test every single possible thing. And I mean, I test 95%, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7% out of that. And then, you know, 75%, 10-second views. I test them all. And when I start testing those, I just find, you know, let's just say I start testing with 95%. I would create 95% lookalike audience, or custom audience. And then I would create a lookalike audience based off of 1%, 1 to 2%, 2 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 10. So that's 5 of them. And I would take those 5, and like I said previously, I would stick them into a CBO campaign. I would start that CBO campaign at $200 a day, and I would see which of those is doing the best. So after, you know, 2-3 days, once Facebook completely optimizes each of those ad sets, And like I said before, around $50 is the sweet spot to where Facebook really gets to optimize your ad sets and really starts to show them to the right people. After that, I start looking at the data and looking for which ones are doing the best. And if I notice that, let's just say 1% and 6 to 10% are doing the best, I'm going to turn off. Let's just say that they're profiting and the other ones are not profiting. So I would turn the other 3 off, and I would let those 2 spend that $200 budget for maybe 2 more days. If they're still profitable after those 2 days, I'm going to take those out of a CBO, and this is going to be working. This method that I'm using is going to be working until September, until they enforce CBOs to be, mandatory, and you can only use CBOs. But this is what I'm currently doing. I take the 2 that are currently working in the CBO campaign, the 2 ad sets. Let's just say I take them out of the CBO. I create a completely new campaign. I stick them into that new campaign, and I set the budget to $50. I let that run for 2 days. If they're profitable for 2 days, I go straight away, duplicate them, and create them to manual bidding ad sets. And I know a lot of people say, but Alex, aren't you supposed to scale first horizontally before you scale vertically? Yeah, I mean, you can, but in my experience, I really like keeping a clean ads manager. And that's just my preference. And going back to what I've talked about before, it's all about testing. What works for you? This works for me, so that's what I'm doing. So all I do is I make those into manual bidding ad sets and then scale it from there. So I run those 2 manual bidding ad sets. I set them at $500 and I let them run for 2-3 days. If they're profitable after around 2 days, I just increase the budget by 20%. And then every 2 days, you can increase the budget by 20%. And that's just how I scale it. Now, what I do recommend what I highly recommend you do is on the weekends, after you scale let's just say you scale the whole week, when the weekend comes, don't touch the manual bidding ad sets. Let them optimize over the weekend. And what you're going to see is that the ad sets are actually going to be getting you more sales. And just, let's just say you leave it, you don't update it on Friday. You're going to notice your sales on Friday are going to be roughly the same as you're scaling progressively. On Saturday, they're going to increase even though you didn't touch the budget. And then on Sunday, they're going to increase even more because even though you still didn't touch the budget. And that's due to the optimization, Facebook doing its optimization on your ad sets, and optimization is getting better and better, and it's funneling in closer and closer. And that's just what I like to do on weekends. Let it optimize over weekends, and then let's just say I want to scale to like 10K a day. I'm going to continue doing that until I hit a steady 10K a day, and then you just play with it. Since an ad set is not going to work forever, it's going to at one point crash, and it's going to one point just stop performing, ideally. And at that point, you always want to continue testing new things. And you always want to continue scaling new ad sets, as they're going to slowly die off. And one thing I learned that I made a mistake at the very beginning was I used to just find a winning ad set, leave it, and then just sit back and be like, yeah, I'm making 10K a day, I'm all happy. And then all of a sudden just it's dead. And then I'm like, oh no, business stops. And that's a mistake that a lot of people make. And the way to fix that is simply don't stop testing new things. You have to constantly keep testing new ad sets and constantly be testing new methods. As if you just stop at one point and just sit back and relax, it's going to crash, and it's not going to end very well. Do you think it matters if I put 5 different types of LLA into the CBO? So it does. I don't think it matters. As it's going to be splitting the budget the same way. So a CBO, all it does is it has Facebook's algorithm decide which of your ad sets in that CBO is doing the best, and it's going to be funneling more of that money into that specific ad set. So if you have 5 different types, so if you have a 95% video view, 95% add to cart, and you have those in there, whichever one's doing the best, that's where Facebook's going to be funneling more of the money to. I personally like doing one CBO per category, if you will, or per lookalike audience category, as it keeps it cleaner. But that's, again, that's preference, and that's just testing. If it works better by putting 5 different ones in the lookalike audience, go for it. Why is every ad account different? Honestly, I don't work for Facebook, so I can't tell you the exact answer for that. But I was talking to one of my friends, or yeah, one guy that I talked to on Facebook, and he told me that one of his buddies got somewhere that after that, after 2 weeks ago, when everybody's ads were just doing very badly, people could not get their stores back and running. They could not get the ads to run back as they were. And one thing he did was create a new ad account, test in that ad account, share the pixel, share the current campaigns and whatever else, tested on that new ad account. And as soon as he tested on the new ad account, everything just went back to normal. So why it's different, I have no idea. That's maybe something that that would be a great question to ask one of those Facebook experts that you can have a call with. But why it's different, yeah, I personally don't know. But yeah, this campaign, do you put in different ad videos? So the question is, in a CBO campaign, do you put in different ad videos? So ad creatives, this is for when you're testing an ad creative. Now, what I like to do is I like to initially test an ad creative. So when I'm doing pay-per engagement, I would initially test ad creatives in that part of my, store creation or ad creation. And as I'm testing them there, just take the winning or the best creatives and use them to actually scale my stores. You can do them in the CBO. So for example, if you're testing your store and running ads for conversions, you can also constantly be testing new creatives. But I personally don't. I personally test new creatives when I'm in the pay-per engagement phase, and then I bring the winning ones and use those into my ad sets for conversions. Do you think you can make a killing on the beard oil space via Google ads, Facebook ads? Considering, honestly, I have not played around with beard oil products, but I have seen a lot of people selling them, and I guarantee you, if you can brand it, you can make a killing off it. Since there are, especially in like UK and those areas, a lot of people with beards. But yeah, so I know that, I don't know him personally, but I know a shop that is currently, I mean, they're doing 6 figures a month, and they're selling like similar things, like combs and stuff for beards. But yeah, you can. It's definitely possible, and as long as you have an audience for it, and for example, those countries, they have a very big audience for it, it's possible to sell. And going back, or average order value 30, 35 to 40. Yeah, definitely possible. It's testing, and it's also going if you can brand it, since branded products tend to sell way better. And if you can brand a product, do it as fast as you can, as sales do skyrocket. How to find winning product. Sometimes every product looks winning and no product looks winning. How can we search? So the question is basically how to find winning products. And if you want my exact method, I do have a video on it on my channel. You can watch after the live stream or whenever. But all I do to find my winning products is find what other people are doing and jump into it. Like I said before, you can sell literally anything if you can market it right. So if you find, you see somebody else selling a dog collar, you see somebody else selling a dog collar, and you go to their page, you check on their ads, and you see that they have one ad that's their main creative ad. Then they have another retargeting ad. Then they have maybe 2 more different retargeting ads. If you see that pattern, that means they're making money, because they won't be running ads, especially retargeting ads, if they're not making money. And that means that you can just take that product, you can put it on your shop, and you can start selling it. Now, that just goes back to the fact that people find a winning product, they put it on their store, they start advertising, and then they're like, oh no, this is not a winning product because it's not making me sales. It's a winning product. Now, the product's not necessarily the issue. It could very well be your testing. It could be your what's it called? Facebook ads testing. When you're testing a product on Facebook ads, you could just be targeting the complete wrong audience. You got to test every single thing there is for a product before you can mark it as dead or not a winning product. And some videos I would recommend on that. Gabriel did a video on it. I would definitely recommend checking that out. And there's also a video that is somebody just came in, sorry. There's also a video, I forgot by the guy. Just, you can look up how people decide when to kill a product or when to keep a product. But it's just gut feeling, I guess. Gut feeling and what the statistics show. So if you tested everything there is, every lookalike audience there is, and every possible interest targeting audience there is, and you're still not getting sales on it, then I would say move to a different product. But until you've tested it all, I say you cannot judge, and I say that there is still hope for that product. And those are my thoughts on that. Any copywriting books or courses you recommend? So personally, I am mainly pretty against courses. And this is because 99% of the courses out there are just people selling information that you can find on my channel, on like Chad's channel that's in Shopify Nerds, on Gabriel's channel. 99% of the courses, and I'm not going to call out these people since that's just a dick move, but 99% of the courses that I've seen that others have told me about are just content that I give for free, that others give for free, and you can just find online. One course that I would recommend, I'm not sponsored by Gabriel. If you you can ask, I'm not sponsored by him, but his course is definitely contains thousands of really good golden nuggets. And if there's any course that I would recommend, it would be his course, just because he reveals his store, and he gives you everything. He tells you how he runs his ads. Every little thing you can think of, he gives you in that course. So that is the only course that I would really recommend anybody to buy, just because it contains a lot of good value in it. Now, as for books, The Slight Edge is definitely a great book that I would recommend. And then all the books by, what's that guy's name? The guy that wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad, all his books, great books. And then I might also be I might make a video about that, talking about books that I'm reading. But yeah, that answers that question. Jesus, you are way too good at teaching. Thank you, Sam. More success scaling with CBOs or duplicating to higher budgets? I'm not sure what you mean by that. So more success scaling with CBOs or duplicating to higher budgets. Do you mean, so Stefan, do you mean by, is there more success to scale CBOs, or is there more success to duplicate, individual? I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that question. All right, so Chris 630 says, why does Facebook pods ads for too much text? They have an algorithm which shows, they have an algorithm which detects what your, they take frames out of your, let's just say, video ad, and then they have an algorithm which detects if there is more than 20% text in your ad. And if there's more than like 20% or something like that, then they're going to give you a too much text thing, and that can decrease performance. That'll just basically decrease the not optimization but delivery. So instead of your ad being delivered to 2 million people, it might be delivered to like 1.5 or like 1.3, and that shouldn't give you an issue unless you're running, just like huge ass text. But yeah, show us some motivation, dude. This business is tough. Let's see, some motivation. I have so many messages right now. So fun fact, actually, I stopped running ads on one of my stores since I came on this vacay, and it's still consistently getting like 6, 7 sales a day, which is still profit, like $60 to $100 profit a day. And that's just because of the store's SEO. And I will be doing a video on that in case you guys are interested. But I do have a store that did like I don't know if you can even see that, like 5.8 today. But yeah, I guess that's some motivation. Anyways, let's get back to the questions. What are your sales? All right, that's that. Altogether, if you're curious, one of my stores just hit 170,000 sales. I don't know, but that's the one that I did a video on. If you stop running ads because you run out of money, can you restart ads a few months later? All right. This is a really, really good question. So the interview that I did with Zach and Quasi, that was, their story, their store story is the most interesting thing. And that is because their ad, like the way they ran their ads, I've been keeping track of how they were running their ads. It was absolutely crazy. Some days they would just start an ad, they start a CBO campaign, and the CBO campaign, they would start it at like $10,000. Like there's no, they're not scaled. They're like 10,000. They just start the CBO campaign at $10,000 and it does good. And I'm like, huh? Cause I always teach you got to scale it slowly. But it worked for them. So, and then another thing is they stopped all of a sudden the whole campaign. They stopped the campaign, and then 5 minutes, and not 5 minutes, like 5 days later, they started the campaign and then restart them a few months later if they'll get working again. From what I've heard, and when I talked to a Facebook representative, he told me that after 24 hours, if your ads are off for 24 hours, they lose optimization. Now, if this is true, I don't know, because then I heard that also after 7 days, they lose optimization. So I'm not 100% sure which one is true. But I do know that after a certain amount of time, they can't keep your data forever. Since when you're paying Facebook, so let's just say you're paying Facebook $100 a day. You're paying them $100 a day, and they're saving your optimization. That data is being saved on their servers, and those servers cost money. So Facebook can't keep your data forever because you're a liability. You're costing them money. So the fact is that eventually they're just going to write over that data and write over that optimization. Now, if your ads are going to be able to get back up, that purely depends on your audience and if your ads can optimize very quickly. Now, I do believe that the reason why Quasi and Zach were able to get back on and right back on sales when they had bigger pauses is just because they were playing with huge budgets. Like, they weren't doing $100, $200 a day campaigns. They were doing like $10,000 campaigns a day. And I do believe that when you're running those big campaigns, Facebook there is a bias, and Facebook gives you more optimization just because you give them more money. And I do think that. Now, I'm not, I can't speak for Facebook. That's just my theory. But if, I would personally recommend when you start your campaigns, when you start your campaigns, don't stop them unless you are ready to lose your optimization. Now, to gain that optimization again, you're going to have to spend some money. But yeah, that's on you. So, did you find more success scaling with CBOs? Or scaling by taking your winning ad sets and duplicating them in higher budgets? So, currently, I do both. I scale CBOs, but I had more success taking the better ad sets that are working in my CBO. So after I do my initial testing and after I find out which ad sets are performing the best in the CBO, after I take them out, bring them into its own campaign, duplicate them there, do this stuff in there, I found more success in that just because I ran manual bidding there, and I have not ran, like till now, I have not played with manual bidding in CBOs. So the fact that I did manual bidding in there, and I was running like couple manual bidding ad sets at like 2,000-3,000 a day. And of course, those are going to be doing better scaling wise, since they're just huge budgets. Okay, so apparently Donald Trump commented, "Thank you for your vote, everyone. Keep them coming in 2020." What? Okay. Sarah, hey Alex, I love your videos. They're very helpful. What a good method for beginners to start with, like how to make the store general or one product, then run ads with Facebook ads. Okay. So what I would say, if you're a complete beginner, go out and learn before you really play with before you go and play on the Facebook ball field. And this is because when I started off, I jumped right in Facebook ads and it did not go, I lost money. And then when I restarted again and actually got a successful store going on for like 5-6 months straight, I was doing just research, and I was, pen, sharp highlighter, just pencil, pen, notepad, and just taking down notes, and just watch videos, learn, see what's working for other people, find strategies, find tactics, and learn it. See how others are doing their stores, learn what makes a store convert, learn what makes a good store. And that's what I would really recommend for any beginner, as most beginners, they're like, oh, they're really hyped up and they want to start right away into creating their stores and jumping right into Facebook. But I would recommend that you pause, you take a step back, and you just sit down and learn. Learn as much as you can before diving in, as you're going to be losing less money when you start off, and you're going to be getting more results when you actually start investing in Facebook ads. Would I recommend? Okay, so I always recommend starting with a general store. And this is because with a general store, you can test hundreds of products in it. And once you find a product, once I found my winning product, I took that general store and I niched it down. And what I mean by this is, when let's just say your store is called Vital Essential Gear. That's just random. Your store is called Essential Gear, and you have, you're selling dog collars, cat collars, water bottles, and whatever else. Let's just say that your winning product is a water bottle. Your store is called Essential Gear, and what you can do now is go out, purchase a domain called Alex's Water Bottles, go and change the domain on your store, change the name of your store, and really niche down to a one product store from a general store. And this is really neat, since you don't have to pay then for another store, or you don't have to pay for another subscription. You don't have to transfer all the data you gained on that general store to a different account. And you have all your previous customers if you choose to like email market and do stuff like that. So just niche down your general store, and that's what I really recommend if you are starting off and don't know if you should go with one product or general. Start with general and niche it down. And so Facebook versus Google ads, which is best for a newbie? Personally, I've not messed with Google ads a lot, but I have messed a lot with Facebook ads. So obviously I'm going to be a bit biased on this and say Facebook ads, just because there's a lot more people doing it, and you will have a lot more content on it from, like YouTubers and just gurus and experts, whatever you want to call them. But there is a lot more out there for Facebook ads. So it's a good learning platform. Now, if you just want to go out and learn Facebook ads and then go and also learn Google ads, you're gonna have a way easier time learning Google ads, because you already have some knowledge on what a campaign is, what an ad set is, stuff like that. So definitely for a newbie, I would say start with Facebook, just because there is a lot more content out there for it. Do you know typically how long a CBO with a large audience USA lasts with one creative? It can last, honestly, for a very long time. I know a guy, okay, I don't know if you guys probably all know Scott Haley's, I don't know how to say his last name. But he had one, like, I think he talked about it, but he has one creative that he's been running on the same store for like a year. And that one creative has been bringing him all of his sales and yada, 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 yada. But in a nutshell, you can have one creative. Now, in a CBO versus in just individual ad sets, that's just testing wise. But I do know that one creative can last you a very long way. And when I started my very first store, well, not very first, my very first successful store, I was running off one creative for a good amount of time, which would be like 2 months. So about 2-3 months, I was running on one creative, and that's when I saw sales start to dip, and then that's when I really got onto creating new creatives. And a fun fact, I actually now film my own creatives. So I guess that's just one thing I'm pretty good with, videography and like editing stuff. So I go out, take a camera, film my product, go out, edit it, and you just like put some really cool music and just put it out there. And you just test different creatives, test different, scroll stoppers. And that's at least how I do it. But yeah, how much money do you think you should spend on testing a product before moving on? I think I briefly covered this before, but you want to just test everything there is. Now, that saying, you don't have, $1 billion to spend on testing everything there is. So I would say, depending on your budget, like if you spend like $500 and no, if you spend like $50 on, let's just say you're running one ad set, one campaign. If you spend $50 and you're really budgeting it, so like $10 ad sets, you spend $50 and you don't get one sale, or you don't get at least any add to carts, I would say just be careful, because if you're investing $1,000 into drop shipping, and till now, let's just say you're testing your very first product and you spent $200 and you have not seen a sale, I would say move on to a next product. Just because some products clearly do sell better than other products, and it's better for you to find one of those products that's selling better and use the bulk of your budget for advertising that better one, than it is to constantly be testing new products and essentially losing money. What margins do you usually have on your winning products? So roughly around between 13 and 20%, and this goes up and down all the time. So my very first winning product, it had about 18% for the longest time, and then it dipped down when I was not doing retargeting. But retargeting your product and your audiences will definitely improve margins, as well as upselling and just retargeting via email, doing email campaigns, and stuff like that. So let me see if I can get some questions off Twitter. So somebody asks if Hurify is a good app to use. And I do have a video on this, but Hurify is a great app to use, but it depends in which context you use it. So if you have, it depends on the theme of your store, or it depends on the mood of your store. So if your store is very high-end product, so if you're selling, watches for like $200, if you're going for that Louis Vuitton style or a very high-end style, you're not going to want Hurify on there, just because it's going to look spammy. Versus if you're selling some toys or a hype product, or a dog chin or something like that, you can actually use Hurify and other hurry, or what are they called? Time intensity tools or apps to get better sales. And I've done that in the past, and I guarantee you that Hurify is one of the main reasons why my conversion rate went from like a 2 to a 4. And it's just because people go onto Facebook, on your creative on Facebook, and they say, hey, yo, they tag their friend. They're like, dude, you have like 5 minutes to purchase. Hurry up. And then their friend goes and they're like, oh, shoot, you're right. So then they go and they purchase it. And what's really nice about Hurify is it saves the time in a cookie. So not unlike a lot of these other intensity or hurry apps, when you refresh the page, Herify saves that time. So if it's a 10-minute countdown and it's 7 minutes, if you refresh the page, it's still going to be at 7 minutes. It's not going to restart at 10 minutes. And that really helps the legitimacy and makes it look like it's a real sale or real deal. And that definitely is one of the things that helps my conversion rates on a lot of my stores. But then again, you can play with it. I did notice sometimes when I turned it off that it stayed the same. Other times when I turned it off, it just dipped. But that's with everything. Going back to it, test. You got to test everything and see what works for you. Not profit margin, selling point. So, oh, okay. So not profit margin. So like usually my overall margins, I'm not sure if I'm still answering your question, but overall margin is around 40% of what I get back. And then about 20 of that, or 20 plus, goes towards ads. And then the other is what I keep. Is that what you're asking? I'm not 100% sure if that's what you're asking. Top product research method you would suggest at the moment when Ad Swiper is now gone. I did go over this previously, but I would just go onto Facebook and just use the tool, like the search bar tool. And I know some people have been saying they only get 1 or 2, 3 results, but go and just type out things that others put in their ads. So like order now, buy now, 50% off, free shipping. Do a bunch of those and then go to those ads and interact with them. And what you're going to notice is after you interact with those ads and go to the product pages, interact with them, you're going to start seeing more and more drop shipping ads pop up in your Facebook feed, and then interact with those. You're going to be seeing more and more and more and more and more. And what I would recommend, I do have a video on it, but I'll just say it here, create like 5 different Facebook accounts, do that on each one of them, and then keep watching what these guys are selling. Since oftentimes these ads that these guys or these drop shippers are selling or running, they're not good. That product's not going to be doing good. So maybe in a week from then, if that product's not doing good, go check up on that page and see if that person is now running a different ad. Go to their ads, and if they're running an ad consistently now for a week or so, try that product. See if that product works. And that's at least what I do. I like to just jump on what others are doing instead of recreating the wheel. What's my Twitter? I can just type it out. That's my Twitter. The price you sell the product minus the price. Oh, okay, I got you. So roughly like 50%. So one of my products that I sell, I get for like $10. I sell it for $20. I say when you're setting your prices, set it at least 2 times. So if you're having a $10 product that you buy for $10, set it at least at $10, but preferably like preferably 25 to like 30. So like 2 to 2.5 times your product, how much you buy it for. And how do you make a general store? What theme do you use, and how do you make the home page and the product page? So that's a big question. But general store just means a store that has a bunch of different products on it, and then you can test a bunch of different products on it. So just create a Shopify store, stick in a bunch of different products on it, and that's a general store for you. I would recommend that you put a story behind your store. So if you have a store that you have 10 different products on it, go to make an About Us page, and in that About Us page, give an emotional story on why you started e-commerce or why you started that store. So be like, I loved online shopping all my life, and I wanted to make it easier for everybody else. Thus, I started this store. And when you write something like that, believe it or not, a lot of people tell you that the only page that your customers are going to view is your product page. And I completely disagree with that, since I have Google Analytics linked to all my stores, and I look at that, 24/7, and 99% of the time, you're going to see throughout the day, people are going to be exploring your store. And if you have a story behind your store of why you started it, people are going to convert like crazy, since they're going to see a reason, and it's going to look way more legit than if you just have go buy my product and that's it, or no about us, nothing. It just looks more fishy that way. What theme do you use? Honestly, the general theme, or the default theme that comes with Shopify, is a theme that I use on a lot of my stores, and I also use a Jumpstart theme, mainly because those, if Shopify makes it the default theme, there's a reason it's the default theme. There's a reason, like the CEO will probably be better. Its optimization is going to be probably better, and the stores, conversions are most likely going to be a bit better, since that's what Shopify recommends. So I would say for your first store, just use the default theme. If you like a different theme, try it out. There's no hurt in testing, and just seeing what works for you is really going to get you your best results. And then how do you make the home page and the product page? Home page, that's Shopify. Okay, I'm getting some notifications. Product page, just you can, if you're drop shipping, you add the product through a Brillo, or you can make it manually. But that's how you do the product page. And then description wise, that's a whole nother topic. But for descriptions, you want to be as detailed as possible. Since think about it like this: when you write a description, that's basically your sales pitch. If you are a salesman for a company, you're going to be paid to go to other people. So you really want to just give it all out to when you write your descriptions, as when people read it, they're gonna be like, oh, I do need this product. You just use some sites, see what other people are doing. Like let's see, hopefully nobody owns these stores, but I can drop down, I'll drop down a link to, let's see. I'll drop down a link to a store that has a really good description, and I'll give you guys why it has a good description. So we can all go through it together, and I'll kind of guide you through that. That would be interesting. So let's see. I have okay, this is another thing that I would recommend you guys do. Go, and when you see a different or a competitor dropshipping store, make in Chrome a bookmark, or a bookmark folder called good example stores, and then just insert those stores, or make bookmarks for those stores in that folder. So then you can have an archive of good Shopify stores or competitor stores that you can look into when when you want some advice, not advice, but reason to buy, or what am I saying? When you want some good examples. So I'm just trying to find one that's decent. All right, give me 30 seconds. This is hella boring. I'm just sitting here and looking at this. Okay. This one's also bad. I'm trying to find a good one, but a lot of these are just really bad. All right, here's a good one. So let me drop this link into the chat room. And if you guys want to go to it, we can all go to it together. So this is a peekaboo elephant. And now, I don't know, this, yeah, they're doing their own targeting, blah, blah. This is a winning product for somebody else. You can test it, go for it. But I'll give you now reasons why this product description is absolutely killer. So what I always tell people is have a GIF, however you say it, a GIF in your product description. That just makes it interactive. When people see movement, they tend to look at movement. And when you look at movement and you see, the product that you're thinking of possibly buying, you're like, oh, this seems interesting, and you continue reading it. So they have a GIF at the very beginning. They say, did you know a playful child is a healthy child? Now, this product in specific is not necessarily a problem-solving product on its own, but they made it into a problem-solving product. And just because it's a peekaboo elephant, and they're appealing towards mothers. So they're telling moms, did you know that a playful child is a healthy child? And now they're going to try to sell you on the fact that this toy is is going to make their child a playful child, which is going to bring their children to be healthy children. So in a sense, they turned, if you see what they did there, they turned a product which was not at all problem solving into a problem solving product. And then they say, why peekaboo? So that they give reasons why to buy it. So I always say, have images in your product descriptions, GIFs in your product descriptions, give reasons to buy. Since people, they're not going to buy it if you don't tell them why they should buy it. So give them reasons to buy it. You see they have more images in there, embroidered details for added safety, unique interactive formats. So just they bombard you with reasons to buy, what's in it for you. So they tell you, they're just bombarding you with reasons to buy, why you should buy, what's good about it. And then, they even they have the trust badges at the bottom, guaranteed safe checkout, 26 people looking at this product. So they give, you see how they give intensity and a hurry feel, even though they don't have a spammy timer counting down. They have, as you see at the very top, only 14 left, but they don't have a hurry deal going on. They have a nice buy it now button that's shaking nicely left and right, but it's not spammy. It's very nice, very simple, very clean, while very effective. And I guarantee you this product is bringing people like 6 figures plus easily. So that's what I definitely recommend product description wise, or how you should make a product. So bookmark this. I'm telling you, bookmark this page right here. And if you're having trouble making a description, look at it. Just look at it. And it's straight up, that's a good description. That's a description that sells. It's not nothing super fancy. They don't have 1,000 paragraphs going on, but they also don't have just statistics about it. Since I know some people who sell something and they say, oh, it's 2 feet high, smells like cheese, and looks nice, and then they expect people to buy it. Like, no, the people won't buy that. You got to sell away your product. You have to give reasons why people should buy it. So yeah, that's definitely a great product to look at, product page to look at and take examples from. Now, as for the product, I don't know if it's going to be a winner for you or not. You can test it. And I'm not testing this product, but these people at least are definitely making 6+ figures from it, just because I've seen their ads going, and they have even retargeting and stuff going on for it. Cool. So that answers that. Hopefully that was a little bit more interesting, that we all got to look at the same thing. So are you profitable within the first 24 hours or 48 hours? No, you're definitely not profitable. So when you're starting off, you don't expect to be profitable until about a week or so. What you're striving for is to slowly start, your pay per engagement ads, you're testing new creatives. Your goal is to slowly start rising up your profitability until you hit your break-even point. So you're going to be under, when you start, it doesn't matter what store it is, you're always going to start under, because you're always going to start with paying somebody off. Now, sure, you might get lucky and hit something that, you get a sale right away. But 99% of the time, when you're doing initial testing, you're going to be under. And your goal is to just drive up to that break-even point, hit that break-even point, and then really start scaling it. So are you profitable? Nobody is necessarily going to be profitable within the first 24 hours. If you are, that's awesome. But don't expect it. Don't expect results right away, as it's an unrealistic expectation. And you're gonna, heck, I had to spend, when I started a different store, I was spending, I spent like $5K down before the store actually, swooped back and started going up. But I think, so scaling with lookalike audiences and all of that to be profitable. Yeah. So personally, I like that. That's how I do my scaling. Lookalike audiences all the way. Now, I know Ecom King, Chris, He loves also interest targeting, and that's great. It just interest targeting does not necessarily always work for me. Lookalike audiences, like 99% of the time, work for me, like always. So I would say, start with lookalike audiences, scale it up, and then if you want to play with interest targeting and stuff like that, you can do that. But yeah, just don't expect results right away. And when you break that break-even point, that's when you want to start scaling. You don't want to scale until you start breaking even, because that's just stupid. Because you could have an ad set that's not profitable at all, and you're bringing money into it. You're just trying to get it to. You're trying to scale it, and it's just like, no, I'm not profitable. Don't do it. And you're wasting money, and there's really no point into it. But I'll take maybe one or two more questions. And this live stream has been going on for over an hour now. So yeah, I don't want to like keep you guys here. I don't know if they're like people that have been here from the start. I thank you for tuning in. And if you guys are just joining in, like, welcome. But this is the ending. But yeah, so we'll take two more questions. So I would like to know if I could get started with $800 as budget. I would say you can, dude. I started with $900. Some people started with $200. So $800, you can start. Start slow. Definitely do not. I don't recommend that you start right away going and spending, $50 or $200 per ad set. Start slow. Slowly go to that break-even point, and then after you break even and start profiting a bit, then you want to start scaling. And we'll take one more question. So very interesting. I asked, "I'm going to be expecting to be profitable?" And he said, "Yeah." Yeah, different things work for different people. Ecom King, he's a great guy. I think I want a consultation call with him, but to just test. And this whole entire live stream has been me preaching to test and test and test and test and test. And I'll be preaching it. If you ever get a consultation call with me, if you're not testing everything there is, I won't feel bad for you. But yeah, it's just testing, and that's all there is to it. But yeah, I thank you guys all for tuning in. I hope this live stream provided some sort of value and helped whoever had questions. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. If you have not already subscribed and hit that notification bell, I don't know what you're doing with your life. I'll be dropping a video as soon as I get back from Serbia. And yeah, if you do want to get a call with me, we can talk one-on-one. I can look at your ads and we can go on from there. So yeah, thanks guys for watching, and I guess that's it. I'll see you in my videos.